Hello and welcome. I recently bought a Kent Ridgeland single speed bike from Walmart for only $98. The bike is surprisingly well built for such a low price. The welds are all really nice, and while the components are not exactly high-end, they are entirely usable. And let's not forget that eye-catching neon bright color scheme. I mean, that's one of those things you either love it or you hate it, and it has grown on me. The bike rides and stops really well, and it feels nice and solid on the road. However, as I mentioned in my prior video for the Ridgeland, I was not entirely crazy about the saddle and the grips. They certainly do their jobs, but they are not as comfortable as I'd like. Fortunately, saddles and grips are easy to upgrade. So I went on Amazon.com and I got this lovely bright green and black sport saddle. It's got some really decent padding. It's got an anatomical relief channel, which I have grown to prefer as I get older. It's also got this kind of weird shower cap rain cover thingy, which I really don't think I'm going to be using. Surprisingly, it comes with a combination 14 and 15 millimeter wrench and a little hex key. I've never seen that before with these. I also got a set of my favorite grips. These are ESI Chunkies. I actually like the Super Chunkies, but I couldn't find them in yellow, and I really wanted yellow for this bike in order to maintain that visual impact, let us say. Well, let's take this bike for a ride and see how these upgrades work. Oh, and Happy New Year. I'm taking it out today, even though it's a bit chilly, because tomorrow it's going to snow, and that will make this road effectively useless for this kind of bike. Oh, and I got to put the shades on because, hey, you know, it's all about the look. But before we do anything else, I need to engage in a little bit of housekeeping. I'll try to keep it brief. But basically, nasty comments will not be kept on my channel. Now, as I said earlier, this bike is certainly polarizing. You either like the colors or you dislike them. There doesn't seem to be anything in the middle, and that's fine, you know, to each their own. But I will not tolerate nasty comments. I had to delete a couple from people who apparently are unfamiliar with what Thumper said in the movie Bambi, which is, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. Now, I can put up with differing opinions, but I draw the line at rudeness and bad language, because this is just a hobby for me. I do it to have fun, and I'm not going to tolerate childish behavior. Now, with that out of the way, these grips are so much better than the stock ones. The stock ones were really thin and inflexible. I mean, yeah, they kept your hand from slipping off the handlebar, but that was about the nicest thing I can say for them. Luckily, I found these ESIs in yellow so I could maintain that color set, and I've grown to enjoy the brilliant color set, the neon blue, yellow, and green combo, and what can I tell you? I'm just having all kinds of fun with that aspect of it. And also, that padded seat with the relief channel is so much more comfortable than that stock seat. That stock seat, okay, yeah, keeps you from falling off the bike, but again, that's the nicest thing that I could say about that saddle. Really hard and thinly padded, almost as comfortable as a 2x4. Now, I know, in order to keep this bike under $100, compromises had to be made. And that's fine. I mean, I didn't buy a $98 bike thinking it was going to be as good as a $980 bike. That just is not realistic. With that said, it's also easy to upgrade. I mean, you know, it took me like 10 minutes to put the grips on, and that's only because it took a while to get the old ones off. They were really tight. Oh, and right here, this is the part I like, descending. I live for descending. It makes the climb worthwhile. The saddle, I mean, that was a straightforward proposition. Undo the clamp and take the old one off, put the new one in, adjust it forward and back, and Bob's your uncle. So we're coming up on an intersection here, and this is another thing that still surprises me about this bike. It's got painted rims and it's got linear pull brakes. Normally, in a situation like that, the brakes would just screech and squeal and make all kinds of unpleasant noises. That's not the case with this bike, and it just surprises me. I don't know how I got so lucky. And I suppose worst case scenario, you know, you could take a Dremel tool and strip the paint off the rim, but gee, that's a lot of work. So I'm going to continue riding it as is and assume that everything is going to stay this way for a while, and if it changes, well, you know, I'll deal with it then. At this point in the ride, I'm going up a rather long hill. Oh, maybe between 3 to 6% grade. It varies a little bit, but it was a little much for staying seated. So I'm standing. Here we go. And gee, you know, this works as well now as it did when I was 10 years old. It's also just about as much fun as it was when I was 10 years old. But you know, that's the thing about the single speed. You have to have a different mindset. Yes, it's an easy bike to ride because it's so simple and uncomplicated, but with the lack of multiple gearing, that means that sometimes you have to be a little bit tough. You know, that was a pretty fun ride, now that I've upgraded the ergonomics of the Ridgeland. Seriously, that new saddle and the cushy grips, they make a world of difference. And it didn't cost an arm and a leg to do it. At the end of the day, this is a fun bike to ride, and that's my ultimate goal, to have a fun bike. Certainly this bike fills the bill, and I think I'm going to enjoy it for quite some time to come. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Below left is a link to a playlist for the Ridgeland, and below right is a link to another video that I think you'll enjoy. And as always, seriously, thanks for watching. I really do appreciate that. Goodbye and have a great day.